Generally, we think of love as requiring honesty, but Ai disagrees, and Oshi no Ko in general seems to agree with her. Initially, she strongly argues for a view of love that's built on lies, but then eventually comes to take an alternate view. This makes a lot of sense in my opinion if you think of love as having multiple different meanings. The love you might have for a stranger might be different from the love you have for a partner, which might be different from the love you have for your kids. And yet we use the same words. However, interestingly, her saying she never told anyone she loved them and meant it implies that she didn't love the kid's father, or at least didn't say she did. The scene where Ai finally says I love you is of course beautiful, but it's only so interesting because of what she says before it. She says she doesn't want to say I love you because she's worried it would be a lie like all the other times she said it. This is interesting because why would that scare her? At least one coherent motivation is that she already loves them. Though, to be fair, wanting to love someone and loving them isn't the same thing, as Ai wants to love her fans but doesn't. Or does she? I mean, Ai in general has a rather weird approach to her fans. She is of course stringing them all along. That's kind of the point. She doesn't in fact have romantic feelings for anyone, despite claiming to every other week. But she does care about them a lot. I mean, for crying out loud, one of them tried to murder her and she still wanted to love them. This feels like a different sense of the word love to me, like the love a benevolent angel might have for humanity. So her love is a lie, but it's real in a sense. However, Ai is in fact not real. Normally I don't point this out, but at the start of every season of Oshi no Ko, they say that the story is fiction, so I think that it's relevant. Ai doesn't love anyone, because she's not real. However, I actually think this makes it a stronger point. It is false that Ai wants to love her fans. Ai is fictional. However, it can be said that in Oshi no Ko, Ai wants to love her fans. But there are real Bikamachi fans. Therefore, we can say that it's true in a sense that Ai wants to love real people, making it true in a sense that Ai loves real people. And yet also in a different sense, that's nonsense word salad. It's a love built on lies, but isn't that the point? Stories are about lying to people. We call it the suspension of disbelief for a reason, and yet we still suspend our disbelief. If I may quote the outro, this lie is love and this lie is a gift to the world. Ai's love is also fleeting. I mean, it's very clear in Oshi no Ko that something is absent. I think that the end of the Tokyo Blade arc demonstrates this point rather well. Akane of course acts as a stand-in for Ai in the scene where she dies. This makes Aqua furious, channeling his rage at the death of his mother, but then she is able to return to life, but only in the story. This love too is fictional, a lie if you will, but even that is somewhat therapeutic for Aqua, and heck also for Akane and Kana, who enjoy acting in the play and facing off against each other. It's also interesting that this lie comes in the form of acting, which is in a sense professional lying. However, we don't hold actors to the claims they make while acting, so it's somewhat different. For example, if I say, or if thou wilt not but be sworn my love, and I'll no longer be a Capulet, I am not in fact claiming to be a Capulet, so I am not really lying. But I am lying in a sense, because that is false. It blurs the line between truth and lies, which I think this show does really well. What's also therapeutic for Aqua is finding out his dad is dead. This too is a lie, and yet it helps him. As Akane says, he accepted it rather quickly because he wanted it to be true. And yet Akane doesn't want to tell him the truth because Aqua would be much happier with the lies. This honestly mirrors Ai's position, which makes sense as Akane is somewhat of a fake stand-in for Ai in the story, or at least so far in the anime. They actually get together first during a TV show, but aren't actually dating. But Aqua does appear to have some feelings for Akane, as shown in the scene where she is impersonating Ai. This lie relationship is also helpful for the suicidal Akane, who is no longer suicidal by season 2. At least she's in a better place mentally, I think. We should also talk about Bikamachi. Mem is lying about her age, kinda lies to everyone she works with, pretending to be a nice person, but Ruby is actually somewhat honest. When Bikamachi formed, Ruby says that she wants the first thing they do to be honest, which is why they end up exercising for an hour, instead of faking having Payon sneak into their bedrooms. However, Ruby is also living a lie, just not one she created on purpose. Her life is a lie, she's a reincarnation of a sick girl, and the daughter of Ai. And also her goal is a lie. She wants to marry a man who we assume was never seriously considering marrying her, and who is dead. Aqua only told Ruby he would consider marrying her because he considered lying to the dying child to make them happy, instead of letting them die alone to be the more ethical option. Perhaps this was why Aqua was so receptive to Ai's lies of love, even once she told him to his face that they were lies. But lies aren't without consequences. Ruby finds the corpse of Aqua in a cave in the woods, destroying her dreams and leaving her with one person to rely on. One person who isn't even seeking the goal she's after anymore. But as I haven't read the manga, I will have to leave you there. If you've enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing to see more like it.